Well, today, Wits students took their protest to the door of the Constitutional Court. Their protest, of course, is over funding. It's spread to other parts of the country as well. Students are very angry following yesterday's police action against Wits protesters, during which a bystander, Mthokozisi Ntumba, was killed. Our reporter, Slindelo Masikane, joins us now. So, Slee, you spent the second part of your day in Braamfontein, and I'm just wondering, what was the police presence like today? Because yesterday it was chaotic, it was heavy-handed, and it was brutal.
Starkly different, I must say. I think either somebody has said something, there's been some kind of official command that's come from certainly top brass of the SAPS, possibly, maybe even the police commissioner himself. But you could definitely tell today that the way the police were handling the student protest today was definitely much more different, from a distance, monitoring, in fact, diverting traffic away from protesters and keeping their distance at this point. When I left Braamfontein, in fact, traffic was flowing once more. We do understand that the student protests are set to continue tomorrow, but I think for today they are regrouping, trying to chart a way forward and seeing exactly what the plan for the day is tomorrow.
Did anything get out of control that the police perhaps should have managed today?
I wouldn't say. I would say maybe the blocking of the roads, the burning tires. I mean, that is, of course, it's a big problem when it's peak time traffic and people need to get to their various destinations. But of course, traffic was diverted to alternative routes. But nothing that they couldn't handle, I think. And I think students themselves were just being adamant in terms of standing their ground, continuing with the call for fee-free, decolonized higher education.
All right. Now, the earlier part of your day was, of course, you went along to the Kempton Park home of Mthokozisi Ntumba, the man who was killed, the 35-year-old man, walking out of a clinic in Braamfontein yesterday, and then it seems was shot at by the police and tragically died on the scene. The police minister went to visit. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
I don't think anyone can imagine, sadly, what that family must be going through, the trauma, especially the photos that were doing the rounds for most of the day, in terms of his body just lying there for hours on end on the pavement, on the street, knowing that he had just left to go to the doctor's offices, obviously planning to go back home. He's got 3 children, a wife, the youngest of them being less than a year old. He was the breadwinner. We know that he was employed at the Department of Human Settlements and had just completed his master's degree.
Do you know?
We don't know through which institution, but you know, somebody who certainly had goals, ambitions, dreams, and was a provider for his family, but most of all, a human being like you and me, who was just somebody, a passerby. And not to say that if he was involved in the protest, it would have been justified, but he was seemingly just going about his business of the day. And so what we saw today was the police commissioner, Gauteng Police Commissioner flanking the police minister, to the family home in Kempton Park, joined by IPID that is investigating this matter. The IPID is responsible in terms of investigating issues surrounding the police and the conduct of police. And we know that ballistic reports are underway. We are waiting a post-mortem. We don't know exactly if he was shot by a rubber bullet. We don't know if he succumbed to injuries with result to live ammunition. That's still yet to be revealed, but we know at this stage no arrests have been made. We know that the police officers responsible are still roaming the streets today. But let's just take a listen to what the police minister had to say.
Okay, all right, let's take
He's a young man. Even I saw his photo, was working for the Department of Human Settlement, and has just gained his master's degree.
And is he a father?
He's a father of 3.
Does he have a wife?
He's a father of 3. He's got a very young wife, and I think the youngest child is less than a year old. It's a sad situation to look at. It's something that you can't really even be able to live with it as a human being now. Taking all other elements of life out is a sad situation.
Thank you, Minister. Sadly, we also, of course, had an opportunity to hear from one of the family members after that encounter with the police minister. Let's take a listen.
He lost family, and we have a certain view as a family But more than that, akhona ama-answers amaningi esisawafuna. Yonke into eyenzekile isiphathe kabi. Njengoba besesishilo ukuthi we feel ukuthi this life was not supposed to be lost.
Utterly tragic situation. Two things. Do we know when that report from IPID is going to come out? Because that family does need answers. And what are you expecting to happen tomorrow regarding the protests?
Not at this stage, Sally. We do know that the investigations are at an advanced stage. And I think with condemnation coming from all sorts of sectors in society and the president himself, that report is certainly going to be out very soon. We do expect it. We know tomorrow that more universities are going to be joining in on these protests. Many of the student leaders today saying that this is not a Wits protest. This is a protest for all students across the country, that they need to unite in this call, and that they want that demand for free education to be not realized in this lifetime, but in this year.
Wow. That's a big ask. We do know that education authorities are very much aiming for that, and it'll be interesting to see how much progress they are making. Thank you very much for bringing us all today's news.